The day Eucharia, everyone called her UK, arrived in the village for Christmas, everything changed. It was as though a spell had been cast over us boys. Suddenly, all the things we did without a second thought became calculated. We used to roam around carefree, sometimes going 2 days without bathing, but after UK's arrival, boys began to wash up as early as 8 a.m. And we weren't going anywhere important, it was the holiday season. Yet, every boy wanted to look his best, just in case UK was watching. Even our trips to the bush for a short put ended. It was unthinkable to let UK catch us in such an awkward situation. Toilets that had long been ignored suddenly became hotspots of hygiene. I wasn't left out of the madness. If my mother sent me to fetch water, I'd take the long way around, avoiding UK's uncle's compound at all costs. Imagine her seeing me with a bucket on my head. Unforgivable. From a distance, we vied for her attention, her smile, her wave. The first day she smiled at me, I skipped dinner. How could I let my mother's EBA ruin the sweet memory of her smile? But I wasn't the favorite among the boys. I knew this. I was lanky, almost awkward looking, and not considered attractive. Yet, somehow, I won her over. It wasn't my looks, it was my English. I was the only boy in the village who could speak it. Gathering courage one evening, I approached her. My heart pounded as I said, "I want you and me familiar." To this day, the ridiculousness of that line makes me laugh. But it worked. UK had been longing for someone to talk to, and we became inseparable. Not that we did anything particularly special, but the village gossip mill, what we called VB, or village blogs, ran wild. If she waved at me, the other boys would grumble and spread rumors. I loved every second of it. She introduced me to exotic stories, Cinderella, Snow White, the Three Musketeers. I shared tales of masquerades, the tea festival, and our clever but mischievous daughters. My limited English struggled to keep up, but she liked my stories, and I loved hers. One day, as we sat under the shade of an udala tree, she asked about my family's Christmas traditions. "I killed a chicken in my family," I said proudly. "On the 24th night, I climb a tree, catch the chicken, and slaughter it." Her face twisted in disgust. Don't you have a real tradition?" I thought hard. "We shoot banger." She shook her head. "Anything that doesn't involve violence. Like a Christmas tree. Or gifts." I was clueless. Gifts in my family meant Christmas clothes. She insisted we needed a Christmas tree, so we cut a branch of the whistling palm from my school and planted it in the living room. UK brought candles from our uncle's house, and together, we placed them strategically around the room. When my mother came in, she surprisingly liked it. I was proud. "Now you all need to gather and sing Christmas songs," UK said. But in my family, the only songs we knew were church hymns and high life tunes. Disappointed, she left. I walked her home, where she kissed me on the cheek and whispered, "Merry Christmas." It was the best night of my life, until it wasn't. I woke to my mother's screams. The candles had caused a fire, and my precious Christmas clothes were burnt. Staring at the charred remains, I was frozen. When my emotions finally surged, I grabbed the clothes and ran to UK's house. "Your nonsense candlelight has burnt my cloth," I shouted, shoving the clothes into her hands before storming off. The next morning, I sulked as my siblings dressed in their new outfits. I had nothing. Then, a boy came to tell me UK was at our house. I didn't want to see her, but eventually, I went to the living room. She stood there, holding a pair of Ankara shorts and a white t-shirt. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I made this for you." I stared at the outfit in horror. Who wore Ankara shorts for Christmas? But her face glowed with hope. "It will make you special, Aina," she said. Reluctantly, I wore it. That afternoon, we walked through the village hand in hand. She was radiant in a beautiful gown, and I looked like a goat in mourning. But I didn't care. She was with me, not the other boys. Years later, Ankara shorts and t-shirts became a fashion trend across Africa. No one remembers to credit me for starting it, but it doesn't matter. That Christmas, I learned that sometimes the best gifts are not the ones we expect but the ones that come from the heart.